by some amazing stories about how to apply servitization in this law. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about, okay, you want to do something with servitization? Go here and then. And I already pronounce servitization quite often, but okay, because I really hate the word actually. And to give you a little bit of example, I was like, I think a month ago, I had a conversation with a machine builder. It was really cool conversation about data and how to work together, creating ecosystems and how to go forward. And then on a certain moment I said, oh, so you're going to implement servitization. And when I said it, I thought, okay, I made a mistake now. Because I thought always it was like directly going into an error. He was looking to me and said, for example, servitization what? And I thought, okay, oh my god, here you go again. Servitization, how to explain servitization. So the rest of the conversation was not about cool business models and how to create something with data and with doing something cool. Instead it was going how to pronounce this word. So we go to practice and you're already here for some time and I didn't hear you talking about servitization. So if everybody can say it, then we're done with that one. So 1, 2, 3. Great. What is servitization? Servitization is, if you talk a little bit about it, it's pretty easy. It's just a growth model. And a growth model which is going to help us go into the next chapter. We already heard about Industry 4.0, but also about 5.0. It's going to bring us to next ROI efficiently. And we need to. Because if you look to how the world is moving at the moment, is that if you look to, for example, where the revenue for our OEM business is coming from in the Netherlands, 76% is coming from export. And if you look to that, 46%, 5% come from revenue, and this revenue comes from service. And it means that there's quite a potential to grow for us. And it's also, if you look to your customers, 70% says that they want a combination of services and hardware for the machines, factories, whatever you make. So there's quite a gap from 5% to 70%, so there is some growth to make. And if you make this growth, just imagine that you can do this. You can go to a more stable model, a more stable income, high customer loyalty, because when they do something with your service, they're not going to away very easily. Go to a sustainable business model, also create an environment where your customers rely on you, and you no longer compete on price, about more what you do and what you give to your customer. And that's totally something else than just selling our projects. If I go into it, I'm going to give you the question which I'm hopefully going to answer with you together in this presentation. And that's how do we become the customer-oriented company where your cash flow is not solely dependent on selling his products. And before I do that, I'm going to introduce myself a bit. I'm Nienke Vergeer, I'm Digital Innovation Manager at Siemens. And I'm on a research quite some years already. What's now the real value of digitalization? And how to grow and how to use it. And for that, I'm also making, for example, a podcast where I'm going to talk with all kinds of expert inspirators, and people in the field where we talk about how are you going to improve my business model, what I'm going to do for some cybersecurity, how I'm going to put data and ecosystems and that kind of stuff. With the idea to share knowledge, just as we do today with this meeting, to share knowledge because we have to speed up quite some. There are a lot of questions we have to tackle. For example, we create with industry 1/3 of the total CO2 emissions in the world. We have a people shortage problem. So where the hell do we get our maintenance people from? And we have, for example, quite some international pressure around this. Trump is doing stuff at the moment, and it's all influences our companies, and we have to get an answer on it. So how to do that? And I can give you now a really boring presentation about financials. I'm going to do it, but also not, because I want to take you to the birthday of my nephew, actually. My nephew Mats was 2 weeks ago, it was his birthday, and we went there. And of course, he was like 7 years old, so we got him a present. So when we came there was a lot of excitement. He wanted to open his package, and he was really happy to see us because he got his package. And when he opened it, he found a race car. And this is actually how your business models work, because when he got the race car, he thought, oh, cool, there's another one in the same series. And maybe I get this one with Christmas, for example. And this is what, if you look to the revenue model of a machine that doesn't have services, is actually what happened. So the peak of excitement when Mats, in this case, opened the package, then sometime nothing, and then it's Christmas, again a lot of happiness, and then hopefully his birthday comes again, and he got maybe another race car. Also, it's the case for cost. So you're doing some investment, and then you pay out, and the investments come back, for the business. But if you translate that, for example, to a servitization model, we go to look at, okay, how is the revenue model is going to change. So in this case, if you go to invest in servitization, you really go to a long-term investment. So in this case, you see the revenue flying up, but you have to do upfront investment in order to do this, because a product or a machine is not magically appearing, and you have to invent it. But still, you have to invest in forecast. So in other words, can you bear the upfront investment? I have a couple of questions which you can use in the end to answer and to ask yourself, okay, am I ready for servitization? And this is one of the first ones. So can you bear the upfront investments? The second one is, okay, cool, maybe we can bear it. What are we going to sell it? And what am I bearing then? And then the question is, okay, how do you transform your company to a more service-oriented company instead of product-oriented company? So what I'm going to sell, what service am I going to bring? And then I want to take you to the servitization journey model. In this case, let's take my nephew again. His car, is there, and he's using it, I think, for a couple of months, really actively. He really loves his present. And then we have like the reactive first bit. The tires is burned out. So he played a lot with it, the tires burned out, and his dad was crying out loud because his son couldn't drive his car anymore. So he called the toy company. Do you have tires? They sent the tires, and it was all great, except that the dad has two left hands. And in this case, with a lot of aggression and passion, he took the car of Mats, shuffled the tires on it, and the car was working again. However, the car is never working again, as it is just bought. Because his father hoped it worked again. It works again, but it never performs again. So in other words, if you're a machine builder and you give this service to your customer, you directly put the image of your own company and your product in the hands of the customer itself. Do you want this? Yes or no? This is the question for the first one. But if you go to the next step, for example, you go to more preventive maintenance. So let's say Mats wants to be the king of the playfield. And in this case, we have SLA with our toy company. They are coming every now and then, so every 2-3 months they're coming, replacing the tires, etc. Only that gets frustrating then, because the guy came, the tires are perfectly fine. Why should you replace them all? And after it, Mats was like crying for a month because the tires were done, and we were still waiting because of the maintenance schedule was not approved yet. So that's asking the question, where am I paying for? Because I never get what I want. The car is perfectly fine, I'm paying for something I don't need, or they're not there at the moment, I want them to be there. In combination, for example, he was happy about that because Mats is 7, and he cannot drive really well his race car. So he's bumping across the whole living room, he's tearing everything apart. So that's really happy that somebody came and gave us in this case a little lesson how to drive his race car. If you look at the other hand, if you do the company itself, they have to drive around with all kinds of people, giving lessons, and it's quite hard because we have a skill shortage and people shortage at the moment. So we're not selling just one car, we sell, for example, thousands of cars, and they have to drive around. And it's become a little bit expensive or not even feasible at all. So the next step is a little bit more ambitious. What to do, how to become the king of the playing field. You can do predictive maintenance, so the car is done at the moment when you want it. You have like real-time simulation, so we send some simulation program to Mats where he can drive his car. The direction gets advice, how to improve his driving, so he's doing that like in a digital way. He's also getting something, a real-time twin model where he can drive, and then the racing car is telling him, okay, go more to the left, go more to the right, so he can win from his friends. However, you're still depending on the skills of Mats, and Mats is still 7, and is not winning from the guys who started at 10 years old, even though he gets really great advice. So we go to proactive, because Mats is just like his father, he hates losing. And he hates losing really, really bad. So we go now to, for example, to first place at the service. How to come first in the meantime. So we send a professional driver, do all kinds of simulations, all amazing stories. So there's a whole crew coming up in order to make Mats first. And it's done. It's great. It's amazing. He became first. Only Mats is 7 and he also likes soccer. And that's things, oh god, this is expensive. Oh my god, this if every long is coming, there's like sensors on this race car, it's still a toy, right? How am I going to do this? Then you can go, for example, to more insurance of a co-racing ecosystem, because if Mats is always winning, his friends are not playing with him anymore. And his dad thinks, oh, this is way too expensive, so how can we share this? How can we create an ecosystem where we share our machines, in this case, for example. So can you, as a machine builder, first do something based on performance-based contracts, for example. So there was already a question, how is your business model at the moment running? Do I pay, for example, for the lift go down and up, and it works perfectly fine? Or do I pay for amount of hours to come and we fix it and just buy a machine? In a lift, it's maybe hard to just transfer to another building, but for machines, for example, you can ship around through multiple customers. And this way you can mature through your service model, and only it implies quite some from your company, because you're going up and up, and it makes it more complex with more technology, but also a lot of culture stuff is happening, a lot of business model change is happening, and how are you going to deal with that? This is really cool. So we create like first place service with the amazing familiar one track person. We have the first place. However, something goes wrong often in technical companies. Let's say it that way. Because we are all engineers. Most of the people working at a technical company technical background, and they're a little bit really wonkas. So in this case, we decided the service model to become to drive a lap 60 seconds. My boss has a grandfather who is really fan of Le Mans. So he doesn't want to drive 1.1 minutes per lap in 60 seconds. He wants to drive 24 hours. And then you have like different skills, different parameters, and everything. So are you building the right service model for your customer? And for that, I want to throw you for the bus. So I had a really cool conversation with Lars 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
And you told Lars from Selmers, and he told something about what you did wrong the first time.
Yeah, so when we invented the SPMS system, we had a lot of discussions with, of course, we are a machine builder with a lot of engineering. So the discussions were always about machine data. So how can we get the data out of our machines? But what does our customer has to do with our machine data? So we turned that around. What we are doing for our customers is to digitalize their product and not really our product. It's a catch, basically.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and we see that a lot. So you start with, okay, what cool stuff can I make based on the data, based on the machine I have, based on the engineers I have, instead of just watching, okay, what does the customer really want? And that's something you have to change, because you started from being a product leader and now you go to be a service leader, and that's totally different than something else. You have to understand the core of the company and your customer and help them improve their business by improving your business. So that's something to think about. How am I going to do that? And do I have the right mindset? You fixed it, and you did a great job at the moment, but be aware of it. And there's a lot happening, for example. So if you look to more like in practice, okay, what can I focus on? What's happening with my customer? You see a lot of frameworks is one big thing at the moment. If you look to prices of some ingredients like cacao, for example, it's going through the roof. So in this case, what can you do as a customer, as a machine builder for your customer? Okay, I want to do something, for example, with non-quality costs, so that you reduce the amount of ingredients in your process. And that's the way you can look into the customer, okay, what problems do they really have, and what can I do as a machine builder or as an OEM company in order to improve that and help them fix their problems instead of delivering just a machine. If you do that, I already told a little bit about it, you also have to do something with culture. So you really have to change the DNA of the organization. So you come from like a product-oriented company, you go to the service-oriented company, and then some cultural stuff is happening and some things are changing in your company. There are quite some things, and this is only 4 of them, there are way more, which can happen. So for example, service. We make this amazing race car, right? So why should I deliver service? It means that my race car is not good enough. It can happen in our engineers. A lot of engineers are really proud of the projects they create, and they should be. but are you implying with the service that they don't do their job good enough? The product service paradox, we focus more on services and when we're reducing retention on products. I spoke, I think it's already a year ago, to a company that said, okay, well, we want to do something in service, but we really hate service, actually. And the reason why they hate services is that they had like this engineering crew, and every time the phone rang, and they have to go to the customer, the project for another project for another customer stops. Dus they were always shifting across, okay, I want to have services because that's maybe the future of the company, but yeah, I'm working for a project at the moment. Am I going to delay that for something else? So you really have to reshift and create different departments in your organization and really think about your structure and how you do business at all. If you don't do that, lots of frustration is coming up. Within sales, free add-ons. In the past, we always did our service for free, right? And now it's add value. What kind of money do we ask for it? Are we asking money for it? Is our customer allowing that we ask money for it? This is something where sales is the right one, where you only are used to just selling something big, so some hardware. Can I sell then now something not visible? What is it worth? It's just like a little present from McDonald's with it in the past. So how are you going to change that culture within your own organization, but also at your customer organization? And service is labor intensive, and we don't have people at the moment, right? So how are you going to fix that? So how are you going to use, for example, digital innovation, digital stuff in order to make labor less intensive than it should be when you do it all with people? But it is a really hard one, which is rewired in the brains of people that labor is service, always. Is how to change that culture and organization that you understand that it shouldn't be, it doesn't have to be the situation. So use digital technology. I really want to ask you to do that. Certainly because we are having a lot of exports, so the labor issue is a really big issue. And this is a way where you can change the challenges from your customer, but also of your own organization. It's a trend not to be missed. So what you're going to do is, if you sum it up, you're going to do the double shift. So you go from product business to service business, and you go to an organization which is transactional to relational. So you go to shift in two ways, and it makes it complex and makes it hard to do in one time. And be aware of it that you're going to do two things in the same time, and your company's really going to change because of it. Are you ready to do this? Some companies are already doing it. But there are some questions you can ask yourself to do this in the right way, and if you have an answer it, go for it. So the financial can you bear upfront investment, so the shift towards transactional business. What are my customer needs and desires? Do I really know it, or do I think that I know it? Do you have a really conversation with your customer and act on it? What service do I want to offer then next? If you know what the problem of your customer is, what do I want to offer and how does it fit in my company? And which digital technology do I need to create that offer them? And last but not least, how is my organization changing in the meantime, and how am I to align my culture within the future of my company? And this is the guideline how hopefully we're going to create a successful organization model. This is it.
Thank you.